Hi, I'm Mr. Lakeman, and in this short instructional video, I'm going to be showcasing the lost art of changing motorcycle tires by hand. Stay tuned. There's a few things you will need to have a successful tire changing experience. You will need tire spoons. You only need 2. 3 makes the job a little bit easier, and it's especially handy to have one long one like this. Flat blade screwdrivers are not tire spoons. You need a valve core removal tool. I have this one here. It's worth noting many times the valve cap off of the tire can double as one as well. You will need a wrench to remove the valve stem nut. It's almost always a 12 millimeter. And you will need some tire lube. I just use soapy water. This is just dish soap mixed with water in a spray bottle. Works awesome. If you are putting on a new tire, I highly recommend you put in a new tube along with it. And lastly, having some sort of stand makes the job a lot easier. I'm just using this 5-gallon pail here. So the first step is going to be to get all of the air out of the tire and to remove the valve stem nut here. If you've got the air out of the tire, you're going to need to break the tire bead from the rim. Normally, you can just push down. If it's being difficult, you may want to use a tire spoon for additional leverage and work your way around. It's very important that you do this on both sides. Get the bead broken on both sides, take your tire lube and apply it liberally around the tire. This will make the job much easier. Make sure you do that on both sides. As you flip the tire to break the bead lock or bead seat, you may need to do it again as it may have slipped back in, but it should be much easier this time. Once you have it nicely lubricated, take 2 of your tire spoons, position them in the tire with the bend going in like this, and you want them about 2 or 3 inches apart, and then you will fold them up and over at the same time. Leave one in, take one out, move it over about an inch or 2, and keep working your way around the tire. Once you've done that, flip the tire over and repeat the process. At around the halfway to 3/4 mark, enough of the tire will be in the rim that you'll be able to push the tire off of the rim just like this. Tire off the rim. Take a look at the rim. What we're looking for is any nicks or burrs on it that may cause the tube to go flat or damage to this rim strip here. This rim looks really good, so I'm going to go ahead and get the tire ready to be put on. So before we put the tire on the rim, we're going to want to check it for direction. This one isn't directional, but if it was, there'd be an arrow here on the sidewall somewhere, and we want to make sure that the arrow is going with the direction the bike is going. Before we put the tire on, we're going to get our tire lube again, and once again, liberally apply it to both sides of the tire. Once you've done that, you put your tire lube down, you take the tire, put half of it on with your knee, work it on like that by hand as far as you can go. Take your spoons and work your way around until one side's fully on. And now we're going to get our tube ready for installation. Number one mistake I see people make is they take the tube out of the box like this and they immediately put it in the tire. It's super important that you inflate the tube a little bit. It's difficult to do with one hand here. Take your tire lube again and absolutely go to town on it. You don't want to skip on this stuff. I mean, dish soap and water is basically free to make and lasts a long time. And once you liberally apply it all around, take your valve core removal tool and let the air out of the tire, but don't force any of the air out. Just get the tube to wherever it naturally ends up. So once you've got your tube prepared, come a little closer with the camera, get your valve stem lined up with the valve stem hole in the rim. And what you're going to do is insert the tube in a little bit, about 10 inches to a foot on each side of the valve stem. And then you're going to take your hands inside the tire, feeling the valve stem, and push it through. When you took your tube out of the box, it came with a nut shown here. Just put that on lightly so that the valve stem doesn't slide back into the hole. Your nut on there, put the rest of the tube into the tire. And once it's in, feel around the inside with your hand, making sure that it's not caught on anything and that it is fully installed. Once you have your tube in and good to go, it's time to do the final bead on the tire. Just like the first one, we're going to want to get as much of this on by hand as we can. It's helpful to brace the tire with your knee during this stage, especially to stop it from popping back up. From where you are. Once you get to a certain point, you're going to want to put in your second tire iron, hold it down. Now, this is the stage where a lot of people have trouble, and the reason that, and this is why they think they need long tire irons, because they think they need more torque to overcome that. What you really need to do is push the tire down opposite to where you're working, so it falls back into the groove in the rim. Push it down with your knee, and keep working your way around the tire. If it's still challenging, you may have to do it on the reverse side, push it up into the groove. I find sometimes it's nice to straddle the tire at this stage to allow you to be in the optimal position to finish installing the tire. Once you get your tire fully on, put the valve core back into the valve stem that we removed earlier. I have inflated these hundreds of times without it, and it gets you nowhere. You have to do it again immediately. So, put that on, and we will inflate it. Until the bead is fully seated on the tire on both sides, and then set it to a final tire pressure, about 15 psi if you're off-road, about 25 if you're riding this on the street as well, obviously on a street legal motorcycle. There's no reason to pay a shop to do this. It's super easy to do yourself. Thanks for watching.